Also very religious, very religious. Um, Whenever anything happened, she'd go to her Bible. I admire my mother because she was very...
When she got to Milwaukee, she no longer wanted to speak.
Oh yes, after she left South Dakota, she wanted to speak English, German. I don't remember unless it was with her friends, but she always, she wanted to speak English. And then she had some nice jobs, when she'd come into town. She had these people that she worked for on the east side, and she had some very good jobs there. And she'd bring home little goodies, little cups and saucers. I don't know who's got them now. I think it all burned at Grandma's house. Grandma's house burned and all the things burned. All our little goodies that we had, that we took along.
How did you get along with your stepfather?
I had no problems with him. No problems at all. I think you met him. He was a drinker, but he never mistreated us. He never did. Fred and him had a little outing because Fred didn't think that he should drink, And he was a little rough with my mother at times when he was drinking, yes. In fact, they were going to get a divorce before she died, or she had filed for divorce. But he came around later on and visited us, After I was married yet, he'd come around.
So, how far did you go in school then?
That's a joke. I think I was in 3rd grade for 5 years. Never had a report card because we'd leave, before the school's semester was over, come back in October, and then we'd go to school. What grade, where's your report card? What grade were you in? 3rd. Well, we'll put you back in 3rd. And it was like that till we got to St. Matthew's. Then my mother says, no more of this going out of town. So we lived in town then.
Was your mother very intelligent?
I think so.
Or just very crafty?
Crafty. She wanted to learn a lot. She did. Yes.
Did she ever speak of her parents at all? No stories?
Very little. Very little.
How old was she when she came? What would you say?
21.
She came in 1911?
1911, and she was born in, that would make her 21.
21.
Uh-huh.
Never had any children with the...
No children.
Okay.
No children.
Now, if you can tell us a little bit about when she died.
Well, I was working for Heikens, and evidently she was feeling bad enough that she couldn't. I'm looking at that. That she thought that I should come home, so I came home. It was after Christmas, I know. And sometime in November, February, she got sick, and I remember them taking her to the hospital, and nobody even had money to go and see her. One time, somebody says, "Have you gone to see your mother?" We says, "No, we don't have any money." There wasn't any money. Fred was the only one that was working a little and getting very little wages. There was no support money or county money like you get now. So one time...
she was at the county? Where was the county?
Out where... It was that big building, that brick building that's out there.
Okay. It was still out in the boonies.
Yeah, but it was not in the new building she was in. She was in the older one. It was more on Watertown Plank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not there no more. And she was in a big ward. There were about 24 people in there. Like I said, this woman came to find out why my mother had not come to work.
Now, who was she? She was
the Stark Candy Factory is where my mother worked. And it was her daughter, her name was Dwight, that came to visit. And when she found out my mother was in the hospital, she went out and bought us a bunch of groceries. She went out to visit her, and she got her a private nurse. But it was too late then already, you know, because she had gotten pneumonia. I don't know what her problem was, what she died of.
And how old were you?
15.
You said that you had one regret when she died.
Oh, yes. Me and my sister, one Sunday we did get out to see her. And there was always singing in our house. I can't think of the song right now. The Lord is my shepherd, I will not want. And we used to harmonize to that. And when we got there, she wanted us to sing that song so these patients could hear us. And we were too afraid or too bashful, so we didn't do it. And that is my big regret, that because we could have done it for her.
And so she died just before her birthday?
Yeah, she died on the 5th
of March.
And she had made arrangements when the pastor came to see her that he would see that we got into good homes, in Lutheran homes, Christian homes. And he says yes, he had to go to sign papers at the courthouse, giving permission that he could do this, you know. And some way somebody must have called, maybe Roloff called out to South Dakota, because his wife was living out there, and told him that my mother had died. And so two of my uncles came, and they happened to be Baptists. And when they said that they were going to take us back there, and they talked with the pastor, and they says he had promised her that he would see that we went into Lutheran homes. That was her wish. And he says, well, we just happen to be Baptists, but the others back there they were the only ones that had a car that could come. It was Uncle Jake and Ed Waltz. My Uncle Ed married a Baptist woman, and
Lydia
was Jake and Lydia, you know. Mm-hmm. And so they says, well, not to worry, that Grandma and everybody else is Lutheran. Mm-hmm. So then the pastor, he had to sign off his
This was Pastor Helbeth?
Helbeth, mm-hmm. He had to sign off that they would be responsible, you know, that it wasn't going to be. I mean, he had to go to court. They had to go to court with him, I guess.
You were how old, 15?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so that would have made Aunt by like 10?
10. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So when we went out there, everybody went to a different family. I went to Lydia because she had the restaurant. I worked there.
Was she a good person to you?
No. She's better now. She's the only one living, Aunt Lydia.
And she's 89?
No, I don't know. She was born 1905. 81?
86.
No, 86.
86, yeah. That's pretty good. Your favorite was Aunt Amelia because...
Aunt Amelia, because we were a year apart, and I stood up for her wedding, and we only stayed out there a year after my mother died. Mm-hmm.
Just all of you? Or
except Bertie stayed back because she wasn't confirmed yet, and they thought they'd find somebody that she could stay with in Milwaukee.
In Milwaukee?
Till she was confirmed, then she came out there.
Okay, and then they stayed. Aunt Vi, Uncle Andy, and Aunt Bertie stayed in South Dakota, and just you and Fred came?
Well, they didn't stay long either. No, Fred and I came first, okay, and then Bertie, and then Vi. Andy was the last, and he came around the time that you were about a year old. He was the last one to come. Mm-hmm. See, he lived with his sponsor. Most of them went with their sponsors if there was a sponsor, you know, that, like Vi was down in Freeman. her sponsor lived down there.